Not to freak anyone out, but a lot of events in recent times almost make it seem like the end of times are being ushered in. Many movies and shows paint a clear picture of how the world would deal with an apocalyptic event and its consequences. You know, scarcity of resources and zombies the usual. And while watching movies and TV shows like this can be kind of frightening, there's a pretty huge fascination with the genre as well. In this video, I will recommend you a list of 20 post-apocalyptic TV shows for you guys. And if you have other series worth to be in this list, don't hesitate to let us know in the comments below so we can make this video and this comment section a great source of recommendation for everyone. So without any further ado, let's start this video with our first series in this list, 12 Monkeys.
Don't you understand that? Everybody is already dead. You are already dead.
A very loose adaptation of the 1995 film 12 Monkeys. This sci-fi series is best described as a mystery drama with a time-traveling engine. Over the course of 4 seasons, viewers watched a team of people race back and forth through time to stop the army of the 12 Monkeys from releasing a deadly virus that will cause a plague and kill the population. While the plot may sound all doom and gloom, especially considering the plague events of recent years, it actually carries quite a hopeful message. The Rain. The Rain is a Danish Netflix original series. In the show, almost all citizens of the Scandinavian region were wiped out by a virus carried by the rain. We accompany a pair of siblings who emerge from a survival bunker 6 years after the cataclysmic rainfall. They are on a mission to find their father, a scientist who left them in the bunker and simply never returned. As they join forces with other survivors to travel across the Scandinavian countries, they fight for survival and seek possible answers through the search for their father. The 100.
Stop! You're being sent to the ground. All 100 of you.
97 years before the series begins, a nuclear apocalypse wiped out almost all life on Earth. In order to keep society functioning, the remaining survivors established a permanent settlement on a space station called the Ark. After 3 generations born in space, history repeats itself with the threat of overpopulation. A group of 100 juvenile criminals is assigned to go back down to Earth to determine if it's become habitable again. While there, they discover that there were also survivor groups that formed on Earth over the last century as they were left behind by the Ark. Dark Angel.
Yesterday, a body was found in the woods outside of the city, had a barcode on his neck.
It's bad.
James Cameron and Charles H. Egley's Dark Angel is a show about a genetically enhanced super soldier who flees the lab and attempts to track down her fellow experiments. It starred Jessica Alba in her breakout role and marked Cameron's debut television project. Its first season was a massive success, both critically and popularly. After some shifting plot elements in season 2, its ratings took a massive decline, and the series wound up being cancelled before production on season 3 began. Into the Badlands.
What's in that trunk? Ain't none of your damn business.
Do you want to kill in my name?
A post-apocalyptic TV series from AMC. Into the Badlands hones in on a post-apocalyptic world where civilization's collapse was due to a war. Half a century later, a territory called the Badlands is turned into a feudal society complete with barons and his slaves, prostitutes, and warriors captained by a regent. However, a post-apocalyptic TV show wouldn't be complete without opposing groups as a source of conflict. In Into the Badlands, the nomads live an essentially lawless existence. The River King and his people control the water trade and, of course, the rebel group. There are talks of a utopian city outside the Badlands, but does it really exist? Find out on Into the Badlands. SNOWPIERCER. If you've seen the 2013 movie of the same name, then you already know that the SNOWPIERCER series is going to knock it out of the park as well. Bong Joon-ho, the amazing director and writer of the original movie, has been retained as an executive producer for the TNT series that premiered in the spring of 2020. SNOWPIERCER is set 7 years after a horrible climate experiment gone wrong ushers in a new ice age, where the humans that remain are forced to coexist on a gigantic train that circles the frozen globe on an ever-ending loop, with each orbit representing 1 year. Much like the world before it, The train is divided into representations of social class and how each fight for survival. The Last Man on Earth. In The Last Man on Earth, Will Forte stars as Phil Miller, a former banker who believes he's the last man living after a virus wipes out the rest of humanity. Over the course of 4 seasons, he seeks out other survivors, occasionally getting much more than he bargained for. Much to fans' chagrin, the series was abruptly cancelled after the 4th season, but Forte told The Wrap he still hopes to finish it properly one day. The Walking Dead.
You even know what's going on? I woke up today in the hospital, and that's all I know. Things got crazy.
AMC The Walking Dead is undoubtedly one of the most successful post-apocalyptic TV shows, spawning 2 spin-offs, and even in talks for films. Based on the Image comics of the same name, The Walking Dead begins after a zombie apocalypse, where we soon discover that all humans are susceptible to the zombie pathogen through death, and not just getting bitten. The series is primarily focused on Rick Grimes, a sheriff's deputy who eventually becomes the leader of a group out of Atlanta, Georgia. Each season is a heart-pumping narration of how they fight for survival against both the walkers and humans alike. Fear the Walking Dead.
When civilization ends, it ends fast.
Check this out. Someone leaked the footage. What the hell? Look at this. How'd they unload on him?
Fear the Walking Dead is the first spin-off of the previously mentioned The Walking Dead series. It's intended as a prequel to explain how the zombie apocalypse started in the first place, and how the world evolved into the desolate state that Rick Grimes woke up to in the pilot of The Walking Dead. Originally set in Los Angeles, it mainly follows a family composed of high school guidance counselor Madison Clark, her teenage son and daughter, her fiancé, and his son from a previous marriage. Through its seasons, their family evolves to deal with the ongoing collapse of society as their survival group only continues to grow. For those wondering how Fear the Walking Dead will tie into the parent series, a familiar character was already introduced back in Season 4. Battlestar Galactica.
Humanity's children are returning home today.
We are at war.
In the end, we're all just human.
A reprise of the 1978 series of the same name. Battlestar Galactica follows the crew of the starship Galactica as they seek to protect the last vestiges of humanity. After a group of androids called the Cylons wipes out most of the population of the 12 colonies of Kabul, the survivors helmed by the Galactica set out for Earth, the mysterious 13th colony. The show, which lasted 5 seasons, was a critical success, winning multiple awards and garnering several Emmy nominations. The Last Ship.
Take him out.
Does Dr. Scott have what she needs to make a vaccine?
Now we're jumping all the way up to losing 80% of all people. It's unclear what year The Last Ship is set in exactly, but we do know that it's quite loosely based on the 1988 novel of the same name by William Brinkley. In The Last Ship, a viral pandemic swept across the globe, and as previously mentioned, wiped out about 80% of the population. Strangely enough, there was one U.S. Navy ship, an Orly Burt-class guided missile destroyer with a fictional name of USS Nathan James, that remained completely unaffected. The crew, composed of 218 people, is now responsible for finding a cure and saving the remaining people in the world. Between.
It's been confirmed that the disease is accelerating.
Everyone's dead.
We need to pray. Eternal God, God of our mothers, fathers, our God, we come before you today.
Netflix partnered with City TV to produce Between, a show that employs a rare perspective on the post-apocalyptic genre with a mix of teen drama. Set in a town called Pretty Lake, a mysterious disease has wiped out everyone above 21 years old. The government quarantines the whole city, resulting in a community regulated entirely by angsty teens. In the true spirit of teen rebellion, many of the survivors seek to escape the quarantine despite the risk of spreading the disease. C Nation.
You're looking at the only human known to have survived being bitten by a zombie. His blood carries the antibodies for the ZN1 virus.
A virus has reared its ugly head again, killing almost all humans and triggering a zombie apocalypse. Right before this happened, C Nation's protagonist Alvin Murphy unwillingly participates in a prison experiment involving potential vaccines for the disease, and he's the only one who emerges still alive. Murphy is now the only known survivor of a zombie bite, and is the nation's last hope for a vaccine thanks to the antibodies in his blood. However, he slowly starts to morph into a human-zombie hybrid, and this may have unforeseen consequences on the search for a cure. Revolution.
Listen to me very carefully. It's gonna turn off and it will never turn back on.
What's gonna turn off?
Everything.
Ben?
Miles.
In Revolution, it's a digital virus that sets the stage in the very near future of 2027. 15 years before the series starts, the entire world experienced what they're now referring to as the blackout. It's exactly what it sounds like. A sudden electrical blackout that basically switched off all forms of electricity across Earth, including transportation. We join the series characters as they have learned to adjust to a world with no electricity. In particular, we follow the Matheson family, who are in possession of a mysterious pendant that could hold the answers on what caused the blackout and how to fix it. Revolution was cancelled by NBC after 2 seasons, but a 4-part digital comic book was released to wrap up the story. Van Helsing.
I had a dream once. Our world had ended. Vampires had taken over. And I was the only one that could stop them.
Though the Yellowstone caldera has been reported as unlikely to undergo another super eruption anytime soon, sci-fi's Van Helsing is set in a world where it did, in fact, erupt and wrap the entire world in a blanket of ash. Because of the darkness encompassing the world, sunlight is non-existent, and the vampires have come out of hiding to terrorize humankind. The show follows Vanessa Van Helsing alongside the former Marine and the doctor who protect her as she becomes the leader of a force against the vamps. That becomes all the more difficult as she also becomes their prime target because of her rare blood. Blood that can turn vampires back into humans. Falling Skies.
I was in school when the ships came. They were really big. They blew up army bases. Then they came.
Falling Skies is the only show on our list where the confirmed cause of humanity's end is an alien invasion. During their onslaught on Earth, they practically eradicate technology, annihilate militaries, and kill over 90% of the population. A group called the Second Mass is formed, comprised of survivors and fighters under the leadership of former US Army Colonel Dan Weaver and former history professor Tom Mason, who uses his knowledge of historical military practices to fight against the invaders. As the series progresses through its 5 seasons, we find out what the aliens' intentions were behind the attack on Earth, as well as why it even started. Sweet Tooth.
If I hear a voice,
I will run.
if I see a human,
I will hide.
Set in the aftermath of a catastrophic global virus, the comic book adaptation Sweet Tooth is a show for our times. The series follows a very special boy named Gus, a human-deer hybrid, on a journey across the American West accompanied by an unexpected group of friends. It's just the right blend of strange, dark, and hopeful, with the resonance no one involved in the show originally could have planned. Zoo.
Animal behavior is now changing.
I think these animals are communicating with each other, long distance.
Ever wonder what would happen if Mother Nature finally got pissed off enough to start fighting back against humans? Then Zoo is absolutely the show for you. The series follows zoologist Jackson Oz and his ragtag team as they try to make sense of a series of violent animal attacks occurring all over the world. A mysterious pandemic affecting animals around the globe incites them to launch coordinated attacks on the human world, threatening to end the human race unless Jackson and his team can find a cure. The premise and the CGI of the series may be a little silly, but the dialogue is self-aware enough to make you feel like you're laughing with these characters rather than at them. Salvation.
NASA discovered an asteroid, Samson. Samson has the potential to collide with Earth in 186 days.
While many apocalypse narratives are caused by human corruption and greed, some like Salvation are just built on bad luck. This series, which lasted 2 seasons, is set in the present day as scientists discover an asteroid heading straight for Earth. With just 6 months to think of a way to save humanity, a MIT grad student, a tech billionaire, and a sci-fi writer team up to find a creative solution that will save as many people as possible. And the final series in this list, The Leftovers.
Sam?
Daddy! Where are you?
Sam?
The Leftovers begins 2 years after the sudden departure, a mysterious event that caused 2% of the world's population to vanish. An ensemble cast featuring actors like Justin Theroux, Liv Tyler, and Regina King brings the story to life, brilliantly illustrating the various ways people would deal with the grief brought on by an incident of that size. Critics and audiences alike loved the grim series, with many outlets even going so far as to declare it one of the best TV shows of all time. Well, I think this is all I got for this video. Let us know in the comments below if any other series can be included to this list, and it will be amazing to give us a brief synopsis about it so everyone can find out what the series revolving around. Thanks for watching, and I hope I will see you in the next video.